We're going to make mushroom, courgette and mascarpone lasagna. I've got everything out ready. I've washed and sliced my courgettes, wiped and then sliced the mushrooms, leaving the stalk on, just slice straight through. I've got fresh lasagna sheets. If you haven't got this fresh lasagna, you can use the packet lasagna, but you will have to cook it for 4 minutes each sheet before you start, and you'll need about 6 sheets. Right, I'm going to make the sauce part first. I'm going to take tip out a whole tub of mascarpone into the bowl. And because it's fairly stiff, I'm going to add a little bit of milk just to slacken it, which will make it easier when we come to put the sauce in the lasagna. So, right, put a tablespoon of milk in. Then I'm going to add 2 big cloves, but these cloves of garlic are quite small, so I've just mostly peeled them and put them together, and then I'm just going to crush them into the mascarpone cheese. Just check it's all used. There we go. Then I've got some fresh tarragon, and I'm going to just I'm going to use a food chopper. I'm going to pull the leaves off. They come off best if you pull them away from, that's how it would be growing. If you pull them away from the tip, they come off quite easily. Just put as many as I can get in at a time. If you can't get fresh tarragon, then it is available frozen. It's better to have either the fresh or the frozen rather than dried. But if you've got nothing else, then you can use the dried. Okay, makes it a bit easier with the food chopper, but you can, if you haven't got one, just snip it with scissors. So if you just bundle it together in your fingers and then just snip it with your scissors. You can chop it with a knife, but I find it easier just to snip it through with my scissors. There we are. This couple of bits are a bit long. There we go. So all that goes in with the garlic and the mascarpone cheese. Just scrape it all out. Just wants mixing together, and then it's ready to use when we assemble so just mix it. And if you find the cheese is still, because the cheese varies, if you find the cheese is still stiff, just put a little bit more milk in. It wants to be like clotted cream, probably is the best. That's it. It's mixing in okay. Okay, that's ready. Now then, we're going to fry some breadcrumbs ready for the top of the lasagna. So I've got 30 grams of butter here. I'm going to use half of it in the frying pan. Put that on. As soon as that's melted, I'm going to put the breadcrumbs in and just fry them. And then while I'm at the cooker, I'm also going to put the oven on, ready for the lasagna, onto 180 fan. Butter's melted. I'm just going to put the fresh breadcrumbs in there. And we just want them to be nice and crispy, so just stir them round so they absorb the butter. And then, oh, sorry, a bit crispy. them moving around in the pan because you just want to toast them slightly and just get them to absorb that butter. And they're going to form a nice crispy topping on the lasagna. Okay, should do. I'm going to tip those now onto a plate, ready for putting on the top. Now, you don't need to clean the pan out. Into the same pan, put the rest of the butter and about three tablespoons of oil. Sometimes you need to add a bit extra, it depends on the courgette. So just about 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of. I keep the olive oil near the frying pan because you often need to top it up. Now that that's hot, I'm going to put, first of all, the courgettes in. They want to be just fried on each side, so just put them in a single layer. Probably won't get them all in first go, so do as many as you can. And then when they're done, we can lift them back out onto the tray and put the ones to the left. Right, so that's all I'm going to get in to start with. So they'll take about 5 minutes to cook. Just keep an eye on them, and then they just want a lightly colour. Right, the last of the courgettes are just about done now. They just want a slight colour on them. Just lift them out onto a tray. And what we're going to do is put the mushrooms can all go in together, and they don't take very long just to stir around. Right, that's the courgettes done. And we can tip the mushrooms in all together. It looks a little bit dry. If you see the pan looks a little bit dry there, I'm just going to put a little bit more, probably another tablespoon of oil, just to get the mushrooms cooking. Just stir them round and I'll show you when they're cooked. The mushrooms have had about 5 minutes now. You can see they're still firm, but they've got some colour and they've absorbed the butter and olive oil. So I'm going to tip those out onto my tray there. And I've got my courgettes here on the tray. I'm going to do 3 layers, so I'm going to just roughly divide the mushrooms into 3. And the same with the courgettes. It doesn't matter because it's all going in the lasagna, but it just makes it a little bit more even. So divide the courgettes into roughly 3. There we are, that will do. Now, fresh lasagna sheets are this size, and my dish that I happen to be using is this size. So they're very easy to cut. Just measure and then you just cut with a knife to make the other sheet the right size so it fits in your dish. If you happen to have a round dish, you can trim it like that. It's very easy to trim. I'm just using a little bit of ordinary vegetable oil just to grease my dish so that when the lasagna is cooked it'll be easy to serve out. Just enough to give it a light coating. Okay, start assembling now. So we put a sheet, enough lasagna to cover the base of the dish. Now I'm going to put in a third of my courgettes. And then we're going to put a 1/3 of mushrooms. Okay. And onto that, we're going to put 1/3. So you need to visualise again. You stir about a third of the mascarpone. So you just take it in your spoon and just push blobs off onto the courgette mixture. That will spread while it's cooking, and it's the equivalent of having a nice cheese sauce on it. A little bit of salt and pepper. Now this time I'm going to turn the dish and I'm going to put my pasta sheets on the other way around so I don't get the join always in the same place. Press it down and exactly the same again. Our final layer of vegetables on the top. And the final blobs of mascarpone. As I say, it doesn't matter if there's more on one layer than another because it's all will go into the dish. There we are. Smear clean. Clean around the bowl, make sure we don't waste any. Right, that's everything in. Last bit of salt and pepper. And then finally, I'm going to put our breadcrumbs over the top. There we are. Make sure you've covered as much as you can. Get the corners. Okay, finally give the edge of the dish a wipe with a clean cloth. Then we're good to go. That will go in the oven now for about 20 minutes. We've had 20 minutes now, so we'll have a look. Oh, there we are. Perfectly cooked. It can be sliced up into portions and served straight away, or it does freeze really well. If you cut it into a portion, put it onto a piece of tin foil when it's cold, fold the tin foil round and then put the tin foil package into a polythene bag and seal that and label it. It will keep for about a month in the freezer, which makes a very handy supper.